They're spinning. Is that you beeping?
No, I don't know. Could it be me? No, I don't know what's beeping. I thought maybe it was me.
I don't think
Like
it's me.
I thought maybe my camera was sitting on something, but it's
All right.
not.
Evie's coming in here in a second. I am going to go ahead and load the video. Today. Here is that's not Evie. That's the video showing Evie. Welcome to the pre-show, everybody,
Woohoo! The
where we sit
pre-show of
here
June.
clearing our throats, coughing and
Yeah.
sniffling and sneezing and basically being playgats. Because we have children. Yeah, I catch it.
Um,
Children
oh
and
my God.
adult children that we hang out with as well.
I do hang out with adult children. Ah, I'm seeing my little South African child on Saturday.
Mine will be coming over for the American Thanksgiving holidays next weekend.
Oh, fun. No, I've just got my birthday on Thursday. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, possibly Monday and Tuesday. Um, so I'm busy like, oh no, not Tuesday. Tuesday morning I've got something. But then yeah, so just from like basically from Thursday through to next week, I'm just like celebrating my birthday because this is what happens when you have a fucking roster.
Love it.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm a busy. Oh, good Lord. But it'll be nice. Thomas has brought me his gift and told me I'm not allowed to open it until my actual birthday.
All right,
So
I'm gonna go ahead and start the show here. I'm sure Evie will pop on in just a minute.
yeah,
All right, so here we go.
let's go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome
Hello.
to the Hurricane Girls. I am here with Hurricane Barbie. We are looking spry for a
Yeah,
winter
I'm cold.
Tuesday. Yeah. All right, and we got Evie on the way. Let me just give Evie the link for just a moment here. Barbie talk,
Yeah.
how's your week been going?
Well, I'm just super depressed because I got a weather notification app that there will be great and heavy snow on Thursday, which happens to be my birthday, and I happen to fucking hate snow. Congratulations. It's gonna snow on my fucking birthday, and I am so mad about it because I don't like cold weather. I have bad circulation because I'm old. And I and my body doesn't seem to like handle the cold weather at all. So now on my fucking birthday, it's decided to just pour snow down from the fucking heavens. I was like,
It
thanks so
is
much,
your
Jesus.
birthday
On
coming up on
Thursday.
Thursday.
On
On
Thursday, like two
Thursday.
more sleepies, and then I'm gonna be an old lady.
And here is Evie coming in the
Abby's here.
door. So good to
So
see
excited.
you coming in. My week has been, I mean, it's been a week.
It's
Let's
been a
just
week.
put it that way. I did get inked up on
It
Saturday.
did.
Yeah, it's a little bleary right now because the tattoo's starting to ooze a little bit. It's kind of gross,
Yeah,
but
but you've still got the
yeah,
dermaplast on, right?
I do. It's still on top there. So yeah, and so I am here after having a just a week. I mean, it can't be much better than that because I'm a trans woman in America, and America is just kind of a shit place to be right now. So,
Yeah, fair
you
enough.
know,
It is a fucking shithole.
I mean, it wasn't great to begin with, but
It
it
was
is
not.
it is definitely taken a turn for the worse.
It's
And
never been the utopia that people have thought it was. I've never thought America was a utopia. I always thought it was gross. I was like, I grew up watching serial killer shows. I don't trust you fuckers. Why
I
all these
left
shows
it.
based in America?
I left it for 10 years, if that tells you anything. And I didn't plan on coming back until that little virus thing that we had years ago.
that
Amazing
human that
how
human virus.
I
That human
got
virus.
I got past everything else living abroad, but that little microorganism fucked it all up for me.
Yeah.
COVID-19, go figure. But we are the Hurricane Girls. We are the Daughters of Darkness, the Sisters of Rage. We are the Goddess's Curse on absolutely mediocre men, and we are nature's happy little accidents. I am Hurricane Sheila, joined here from Switzerland by Hurricane Barbie, and joined from the US, unfortunately, right now by Hurricane Evie, who has just popped in here. So hey, can't hear you if you're speaking, girl. Just to let you know. Um, but yeah,
Hmm.
we are on our seventh episode, and we are we're just yeah, we're here. We were gonna have Celtic Ginge with us this week, but it would seem that she had some other appointments. She did confirm that she will be with us next week. Celtic Ginge also part of the Villains Guild along with me. So we'll be looking forward to meeting her next week. You good down there, Evie?
Yeah, can you hear me yet?
I can hear you.
I'm
Yes.
coughing. Sorry.
How's your week
I'm
been?
dying.
It's it's can you hear me still or
I can hear you,
There you
yeah.
go.
okay, perfect. Yeah. I'm sorry, just trying to get my life together because I can't seem to do
It's
this.
5 o'clock on a Tuesday. Nobody has their life together right now.
It's
Girl,
11 p.m. on
Duke
a Tuesday up here in
Duke just
the.
popped up. 11 p.m. Yeah, that's right. Because but yeah, my week has been it's only Tuesday. It's been good in some aspects. It's been like last week was a little rough. I kind of went through it last week, so I'm still recovering from that. But I hope that, it'll be a better week. So that's my hope and prayer.
So we're trying. And the only thing we can do right now is to just strap up and be put on our big girl panties and be ready to face whatever might come.
I don't like wearing underwear, so I'm not putting on my big girl panties, my little girl panties. I am putting on any. Y'all will be catching me bare pussy out in the streets. I don't give a fuck.
Pussy is so
I love
That's
it.
that's uncalled for. Within the first 3 minutes
love
of
you.
us being live, we're talking about bare pussy. I'll be bare pussy in these streets. And I was saying to Shields that like my birthday's on Thursday, and I got the little notification be like, there'll be heavy snowfall on Thursday. And I'm like, I fucking don't like snow. And now
No.
I'm gonna be bare pussy in the snow. I don't give a fuck.
Make a little snow cone out of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, just
Little
it's fine.
uh
It's fine. My roster is booked from Thursday to like Tuesday. So it shall my she'll get defrosted at the very least. bit of body warmth, a bit of something there to get her warm again after she freezes.
Have any of
Oh,
y'all
good.
ever like completely fed yourself during this, or can you hear me still, or no?
I can hear you.
Hmm?
It's a little quiet, but I can hear
Oh, you
you.
can. Why can't you hear me? That's so weird.
I can
I
hear
have my
you.
headphone. I have my headset in and everything so that it's supposed to be like louder, but I've been having all sorts of audio issues. But yeah, have either one of you ever like stuffed your face while you're live? Because I might do that.
I
I've
think,
got
I think Leslie's eating right now,
I,
and
I
I
am, I
think
am,
it's
I
five
am.
o'clock for where we are, and then it's midnight snack time where you are.
It
So I
is, it
mean,
is.
oh,
It's
look at
girl
this.
dinner. It's
Look
girl
at
It's
dinner.
that.
girl
Love some
dinner.
Girl
pasta.
dinner because it's literally just like butter and cheese noodles with turkey bacon.
You
It's girl
know,
dinner.
I've been told, and this has been something I've learned through transition, that women have biological functions that need to be met, and eating tends to be one of them. So I think
Yep.
it's okay if people are just like, oh my God, why is she
Oh
eating
my
on
God, they
live?
make
Yo, I
a
honestly
hungry
have
bitch.
bitch.
That's
Right.
why.
I haven't fed myself since 6 o'clock this morning.
Well,
And I went
eat,
to the
girl.
gym.
Shit.
And I went to the gym and I like worked all day. So like I was like the few seconds that I was late was because I got stuck on a few calls. And then I was like, if I don't eat, if I don't eat, I'm actually gonna like keel over.
I'm
So I
Listen,
ran and
gonna.
no.
very quickly made myself food.
No, listen, we cannot have your fabulous ass laying on the floor because your blood
No,
sugar dipped too low.
Bitch, it
Okay.
wouldn't be
no,
the first
no.
time.
Oh no, that's how I know. That's how I know it's time to eat because I struggle with like normal hunger cues. So when I start getting like I'm gonna throw up and I'm like everything's going a bit wonky, I'm like,
So
oh
real.
yeah, I haven't eaten in a while. I'm like, oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
real.
So I get it. I get it. I'm just like, oh yeah, eating is like a vital part of human function. Go figure. Go
Imagine.
fucking
Yeah.
imagine that.
And sometimes a part of just flat out boredom too, because I tend to do that. And I have
Mm.
I've come to appreciate what estrogen adds to the equation, and with
Mm-hmm.
all of the weight gain that comes with it. I'm like, oh my God, nobody told me I was gonna get fatter with
Me,
this here in my system.
me, before the week
Babe.
before my period. Listen, the week before my period, I don't care what I will eat it. I will eat everything. I'm like a vacuum cleaner. I go around and I eat everything in sight. Um, so it's like these woman hormones, right? And once you realize what your like weird fucking hormones do, you pick up like, oh fuck, yeah, it's that time of the month because these are the hormones that are now like here, which means now I've got like this and this like hormone and it's triggering this and this and that. And then I'm a monster. I eat everything.
Here, here's the thing though, like I'm in a puzzle. So what you talking about, Sheila, you talking about the hormones, girl. Ah, girl, I
Girl.
am going through it. That is exactly what I'm feeling at the moment. Because like 1 second I'm hangry, the next second I can't, and all of a sudden I'm hot, then cold in like a split second decision. Like my body can't figure out what the hell it needs. So that's where we are. That's
No,
the
I
stage
feel
that I'm
that.
at the
Yeah.
moment. So the hormone thing is so real. It's so real, girl. Like, oh,
Hmm. And they, like
no
every
soup.
single time I go to the doctor to Planned Parenthood, and they're like, step on the scale, I'm like, no,
Mm-mm.
No,
no.
God, no, please
No,
no.
no.
And
Fuck
then I'm
you.
like, I like, no, it's no, the weight's in the tits, okay? Like it came in on the tits, okay? That's my story. I'm sticking to it like fucking lion bastard scale. Ugh.
I think I think like my favorite like moment with you was like when I posted that TikTok of my best friend who got a boob job. She actually got a reduction and then
Yes.
had to get a mastectomy. So she had double mastectomy because to just prophylactically because she has a
Hmm.
cancer gene. And so she just got them done, like redone, right? And she's itchy all the time. Like they just randomly itch, but she can't feel them because she's still at that stage where she can't feel them.
Oh my
Right.
And so
God.
like I'm recording a video with her cat because her cat is like my favorite other creature besides my own creatures,
Hmm.
right? And she's all, oh, And she was like, that is so real. And I'm laughing because that's all I can think about right now is your tits itching.
Oh,
Even though you
God.
can't feel them, bitch.
And the best part of that video is
My insane
Evie is
laugh.
just losing it, laughing, and Evie laughs with her whole entire aura, being, self, everything, and it's so pure. And I'm like, why is this video 5 hours long? Because I'm just gonna sit here and watch
I'm just gonna
this.
watch. Like, why is this?
Yeah.
Nah, babe, you're like the first person that's ever been like, oh, your laugh is cute. Because it's not. It's so
No,
loud. I hate my laugh. It's so
I have
loud.
a
It's so
horrible
crazy.
laugh. Like I tell everyone, like I hate my laugh. It's terrible because I cackle like a witch. I
Me
do. I
too.
cackle like a witch that has just eaten 12 children. Like it's demonic and it's not cute. And
Demonic.
the problem is though is that I laugh all the fucking time. And yeah, I always wish I had one of those like
What,
No,
girl, not here.
those little
you
cute
can't.
like hee laughs.
Estrogen gives
But
you
I
that
don't.
too.
Right?
Can I have some? Can I have
I
some estrogen?
literally, like, before I took estrogen, I couldn't laugh. Like, I would go to a comedy show and I'd be like, and it'd be something, I mean, hilarious, and I just be like,
I mean,
that's cute, that's funny, that's
I
funny.
I kind of feel like that's because you weren't who you were supposed to be. Like I
That's
think like you
possible
couldn't
too.
necessarily find like humor because like you knew you weren't who you were supposed to
I
be.
I
So
I
I think that
would
might be
allow
it.
that. It
I feel
could
like
be.
there's freedom. I think there's freedom in becoming and who you are. And now you can just laugh and live and be free. And I think that is stunning. But
Right.
yes, we are funnier. Like we women are funnier, 100%. Like
100%.
fuck.
Everybody always
Like come
says
on.
women are not funny, and I'm like,
I'm fucking hilarious.
I'm
You know how
fucking
many
funny
men
as
I've
shit.
made
That's right.
cry from laughing?
yes.
Thank
That
you.
I dare a male comedian to come onto a TikTok live and do 5 solid hours of straight stand-up comedy and keep
Keyword straight.
13, right, 5 queer hours of stand-up comedy and keep 13,000 people coming through the live and keep the live going, like this bitch over here. Like
Nah,
Barbie, like
like
literally
that's
just
right,
sits
bitch.
there,
I
literally
fucking
just
burn
sits
you.
there, riffs on whatever, and does, doing crowd work, doing everything, just
Mm-hmm.
basically,
Mm-hmm.
like, no, I was sitting there in fucking awe of Barbie that night.
I keep being asked if I like, don't you want to do stand up? And I'm like,
Oh my
nah.
God, I've been asked the same thing. That's so fucking funny. I think it's like
I've
we're
done
all
it
pretty much the
before.
same human. I feel like the more like I talk to you guys, the more I realize how
I did stand up when I was in college, and then I kind of got out of it. But yeah,
girl, you need to go back. Like
I mean, I pretty much perform all day on TikTok, and then,
Bart.
I have these shows, so I do that, and I feel like what I'm
Yes.
feeling, sensing from Barbie is like that'd be something that she would be extremely good at. But there's also the paperwork and
I
also
don't
the
like
the
admin. No,
responsibility
no.
part, you
Niet.
Girl.
know.
Niet. Niet, comrades. We're not doing paperwork. Huh?
There it goes.
Niet. I don't know why. I have like a thing about saying random shit in Russian to the cat. And then people are looking at, because people will hear me and I'm like, Tushka, niet, niet. And they're like, are you Russian? Do you have like I'm like, no, I just speak Russian
No.
to the cat. But it's because I taught a lot of Russian when I taught my baby ballet kids. It was predominantly Russian because
Mm.
who else sends a 2-year-old into ballet? I'll fucking tell you. Russia and the
Russians.
people. I love them. I love them absolutely to pieces. These mothers are crazy.
Mhm.
And
Chinese too.
I love them. I absolutely adore them. They're insane. But of course, so I just had a bunch of like, basically either like um, Russia and all its like sort of neighbors that speak Russian. Why am I coughing? I'm dying. This is the end of me. And so these are the people that were taking this baby class. And so I just have 2-year-olds who, like at 2, pretty much only speak the language that is spoken at home, which for them was predominantly Russian. So I picked up on a few like little Russian words. Just like I said, like niet, 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 niet. And if they did something good, I'm like, die, Katerina. Yes, super. Yeah, you know. So I'm like speaking like a bit of Russian, a bit of German, and a bit of English because I'm trying to catch all of them. I'm like,
Well, for number one, you're forbidden to die because I do not want to have to edit the opening credits anymore.
yeah, yeah.
So no dying, no death or anything like that. Yeah.
He's
But
like, I'm
yeah.
done. We'll do this as a
I,
fucking in memoriam. I'm just gonna. You don't have to edit. You just have to like put like in memoriam over or like R.I.P. over my face and be like, fuck it.
We're gonna have to do the like I've died. I've died live at some point because I actually did die 4 times.
oh no.
Oh shit. Okay,
We laugh
have
at
to
it.
hear.
It's funny.
Have you
We
not
laugh
We're
at
gonna
it.
have
It's
to
funny.
hear. We're gonna have to hear
But
the.
we have to do that at one point.
Evie is a cat theory.
Right.
I am
It's
a
like,
cat.
Bitch on her
Definitely-
5th life now. She ain't got time for this shit.
I'll
Bitch,
just
I
say,
mean,
She's already 4 lives down.
every time I go under the knife, because I'm chronically ill. So at this point, I've actually, funny enough, I had my 13th surgery on Friday the 13th, 2 years ago.
Girl, no, why'd you do that?
Because I kind of joke that like my luck is anti-luck, right? Because in the genetic lottery, I fucking failed, right? Like either that
God
or
was
like
just
I'm
like,
very
nah.
unique. I'm like, my illness is 1 in 500,000. Like one of my conditions that I have is 1 in 500,000. So like it's super rare. And so I always joke that I'm either the luckiest bitch alive or like the unluckiest bitch that will die soon. Like, cause dead ass, like it's either or, and it never goes. Like I never know. But like random shit happens to me that shouldn't happen to people. So like I'm lucky, but also not, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So like dying, and dying sucks, and it wasn't lucky, but living through it is super lucky, especially four
right.
times.
So
and living,
I mean, it's
yeah. So
we just have to have that announcement. It's like we
it.
regret to inform you that Evie has died, but she got better.
But she got
Yeah.
like
girl.
R.I.P. Evie, and then like the next
girl.
episode, like, hey, Evie's back with us because she's back from the dead. It was like,
Right.
oh,
It's happened so many times.
Yeah. Tell us about the other side. What did you see?
yeah, and tell us.
How's
This is
Elvis?
like, oh, we're doing the talk now because I mean we had other things we could chat about.
No.
But
I mean, we can definitely.
You died. All right. So number one, my longest code was 6 minutes. I was clinically dead for 6 whole minutes before I was defibrillated and resuscitated, and there was CPR being done on me for that long. Now that time, and that was actually the third time. I actually no, that was the first time. That was the first time. I lied. That was the first time. That was the longest code. The other ones were shorter. They're like 1 minute and 20 seconds or like 2 minutes. But I had like a fucking minute and a half seizure. My mom was with me because I had just had a whole bunch of surgeries. I'm chronically ill. I have, for those that don't know, for those that are just getting to know me, I have the very rare subtype of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I have the vascular subtype. So it affects my vascular system, my heart, my joints, anything that's collagen based. And so I didn't know this back then because I was not diagnosed till way later. All I thought I had at that point, which is what I had been diagnosed up to that point, was rheumatoid arthritis. I had about 5 other autoimmune illnesses and POTS, but that's it. I didn't know I had anything else. Turns out I had primary Addison's, so my adrenals failed, and that's why I died, because I don't make cortisol, adrenaline, or aldosterone. And so like you could actually scare me to death. Literally.
Oh, wow.
Like we had a thing going, like when my kids were little.
Next year Halloween,
literally,
we're taking it
this bitch is gonna pop up. I'm gonna look out my window. Barbie's
Barbie's
just like, and then Sheila's gonna be like, I have to tell you guys, Evie died.
I'm sorry to tell you, Barbie.
But like,
Barbie fucking killed her.
But for
I
real,
regret to inform you.
But for real, Dad, because Barbie didn't take this as like she didn't stop the joke.
Bitch.
That's the problem.
She took it too far. She took it too far this time, ladies.
Barbie's always committed to the joke. Yes,
I am.
Committed to the bit to the very end.
I know, because I do say that I have moments where I am faced with 2 choices. One is to say the honest, truthful thing, and the other choice is to say the funny thing. And I will always pick the funny thing.
Word.
I shouldn't pick the funny thing. I always pick the funny thing. And then and it's funny and purely to me, because I don't give a fuck about other people laughing. It's funny to me. So I'll just do it. And then I'll cackle to myself. And then people are like, upset and hurt and offended and confused. And I'm just like, just like cackling to myself.
Dying.
Like, you know, the fact that I'm not locked up in some kind of institution somewhere is actually shocking. They just let people just be crazy and float around.
Girl. So yeah,
I'm worried.
so I died. But I actually saw myself from outside of my body. And I heard like everybody that was working on me. I heard my mom. I heard all of the above, like everybody literally like begging me. So I came back because I actually heard my oldest son, who at the time was in third grade. He was probably like 9 years old, maybe like 10. Heard him trying to get into my room. And that was what like kind of made me go, yeah, maybe it's not time to fade yet. And so I remember like waking up. I remember it hurt like really bad. Like being defibrillated, by the way, actually fucking hurts.
I
Like it
can
hurts.
imagine.
So it is the most forceful feeling. I don't know that I've had a feeling that forceful, like dead ass. Like it was it was rough. But yeah, I the other time, like I was in a 2 week coma. Again, I heard everything. Like it was like in a dream state. It's very bizarre. Like I could hear everybody talking around me. I could hear my dad. I could hear my sister, who is my best friend. She's not really my sister, but we've been best friends since I was 16 years old. So she's my sister. I heard her talking. I heard everybody talking. I just don't really remember like in depth the conversations. I remember like little moments. It's a very bizarre
Hmm.
thing. It was like an out of body experience, if that's I guess is the best way to describe it. Every other code was very short. And it would be like I kind of felt like I was blacked out and then like kind of like woke up and it was just happened to be like almost 2 minutes later or whatever. So I didn't really hear anything during those, but during the 6 minute code, I actually felt myself leave my body. It was a very
I
bizarre
bet.
feeling. It was wild. It was like for the first time, first of all, it was the first time I never felt like I didn't feel any pain. I felt pain. I mean, as long as I have a memory, I remember pain. And that was the first moment that I didn't have pain. And I remember like going, this actually kind of rocks. Like I remember going, this is so cool. I don't feel anything. But then I heard everybody kind of like falling apart. And then I was like, no, I can't. I felt like it was selfish, if that makes sense, to like just
No,
peace out because
I
my kids were
get you.
little. I mean, my oldest was 9. That means that my middle was 7 and my youngest was about 5. So like it was, we actually were talking about that. My daughter and I were having that conversation the other day, because there came the point where they prepared her father to come home and prepare the kids. And so she said it's one of like the earliest memories she has is like her being back then she had a bunk bed. And she's like, I was in the top of my bunk bed and I remember dad coming in and being like, hey, so we need to have a conversation about mom. And I remember she was like, I remember missing you because it had been weeks. Like I had been in the hospital for weeks at that point, maybe even months at that point. And she basically like remembers the conversation of like, you have to be prepared that your mom might not come home, you know? And she literally like sobbed. She said, I sobbed. But at the same time, she was like, I knew you'd be back, bitch. And I was like, yes, girl. That's exactly how she said it too. Because y'all, I spawned a mini me. She is every bit as crazy and disrespectful and defiant and
She's just like, oh,
bitchy
yeah.
as me.
That's always the problem though when you have kids and then you're just like you're such a little fucker. Because sometimes I get that with my son where I'm just like, you are such a cheeky little fucker. You are
But you can't
so
get
fucking
mad.
sarcastic. And then I'll be like, oh, you little fuck, why are you so fucking sarcastic all the fucking time? And then I'm like,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
that's how genetics work, right? I
Girl.
got it.
Mine roasts me whenever she gets a chance to. Like, every time she gets a chance to just pounce on me for something, she'll do it, and then she'll just sit back and look at her. And she'll be self-satisfied. Haha, I roasted you. And I'm like, yeah, you fucking did. I can't
Wait,
really
Oh
say
no.
anything.
can we just talk about how adorable the little intro that she made was? Because that made me smile so
Oh,
big
she's so
today.
cute.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God. It was so
Well,
cute.
I wasn't gonna run it because it has two people
You
on there
have
that
to.
are not on the show today, and then she was like, oh, okay, well, and then she was
Hmm.
really sad, and I was like, no, 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 I'm gonna run it, and I'm gonna tag everybody in it, and we're gonna use it as a promo, whether or not we have the two people missing, and she was made happy by that. I'm sure she's come home to see all the comments and everything on it now.
Yeah, it's so
I love
cute.
it. Please tell
Yeah.
her I love it.
I will do that. And But when you talk about your near death experience, or whether I don't know if it's near death or it's death or whatever, like I mean, you have to think about that kind of experience informs the way you live the rest of your life afterwards. You know, just coming out of a traumatic situation like that, it has to change the way that you regard things, the way you take certain things seriously, or the way you don't take certain things seriously, or how you approach things for the
Mm.
rest of your life, because you never can go at life anymore and think, well, you know, I've been dead now. So, you know, it really matters a lot about this silly thing, you know?
It definitely does change the way that you look at life. I think, I think that the key point is, and I, again, this is like, I hate to like make people sad, but this is my reality. My condition is actually considered fatal. Most people with my condition don't live past 50 years old. I'm going to be 42 in January. Now, I don't claim that energy. And honestly, if I beat that 4 times, like I always joke, like I have, a few lives left. I'm good. I have at least 5
Mhm.
left.
It's on the
Like
cat energy.
every time I go under, I tell the doctor, I'm like, hey, so this is like X number, whatever life. Like, can we not kill me? And he'll be like, can you not say that? Like, I always stress out my surgeons that way. But, it definitely, I live unapologetically as me. And I think that is something that, and I kind of already did that anyway because I'm an Aquarius.
Mhm.
Just
And
like, yeah.
I'm kind of a bitch that way, but the reality is you look at life differently because I live in a way that I I honestly live for me. I live the only people that I live for outside of myself and are my children, are my loved ones, my sister, like my very close people that I think
Mhm.
in my world are irreplaceable. You know what I mean? My best friends, like the people that are, and I have a small world because even though I live such a public life, and if you follow me on social, you kind of see that, like you see everything that I'm doing, all like I'm all these events, I'm
Mhm.
all these locations, I live this life, whatever. But I can actually count my friends on one hand. I can literally count
Yeah.
them on one hand. That said, I I don't apologize for who I am. I stopped apologizing after that 6 minute code.
Mhm.
I will live as myself as authentically as possible until the day I die. And I will live my life to the fullest until the day I die because life is short and it can be very short, especially for somebody like me. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be less meaningful or less beautiful. And I think that is very, very important to know. To note that, to know that like even if you don't have this long lifespan, you can still literally cram so much into it. You know what I mean? So that's what I do. And that's why, this past year, we talked about it last time. I went back to Guatemala. I went home. I went home for the first time in 32 years, and I'm going to be going home all the time from here on out. Like that's something that won't change. I took the step and a few years ago, and went back to music after I was told, don't pursue music because you're not going to make a living off of it. I, pursued art, even though I was told don't pursue art because you're not going to make a living off of it. I started writing again, and so it kind of changed the way that I looked at life. I stopped being cautious and kind of just started really living, stopped focusing on the death part because there was a while where when I first came to terms with my diagnosis where I was more focused on death than I was
Mhm.
living. And I was like, oh my God, like it's not fair. I was angry. My kids aren't gonna like get to see this. I won't get to see this. I won't like it was one of those things where I was just really mad at everything, all the time. And there kind of came a point where I realized that, why be mad and obsessed with your death, your impending whatever death, because we're all dying. Like just because
Yeah.
I have a condition
Yeah.
doesn't mean that somebody can't walk outside. You know what I mean? Like stuff
Yeah.
happens all the time. So
Sure.
I stopped focusing on death and actually just started living. And I think that, was the key in just accepting it, but also coming to terms and realizing that that doesn't define me. Like it's a part of who I am, it's a part of my story, but it doesn't have to be my end all be all, literally.
No,
Like
for
it can
sure.
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
be, I can live my life. And so that's what I do. I definitely look at life differently, of course. But I'm not mad at it. I don't think I'm angry or resentful at it. Like I think that it's, if anything, I don't live in spite of my illness. I live because of it. And I think that that is something that has meant the world to me to come to terms with the past 10 years. Because it's been about 10 years that I kind of finally was like, okay, we're good.
Like, oh,
I'm
okay.
good.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
And Barbie and I were talking about this offline here a little bit during the days leading up to the pod, that there are things that happen in life that sort of inform who we
Yeah.
are,
Mm,
and they sort of change the course of our life. And I'll let her speak to her
mm,
side, and I'll speak to mine as well. But like I love, getting that perspective, because if I just passed you on the street, I would just be like, well, there's a pretty woman. She probably doesn't have any care in the world. She probably doesn't, she
mm.
she's just another person. But there's a whole depth of layers there to just even just your life and in my life, and everybody has those unseen layers that inform who we are and how we respond to things and how we look at life.
Yeah, because I
And
think, yeah, what we go through that,
mhm,
you don't always know. And, everyone puts forward what they put forward. And then when you actually go like, oh, I actually, now I've learned something about this person, you're like, oh, okay. And that's what when you and I were talking about, like kind of like this
mhm,
is like what people see of me, or they see of you, or they see, and like it can be one thing, and then you're like, well, actually, yeah, like there's so much shit behind that thing. And like I think that's so important that we take, because there is shit that you're gonna go through that's gonna suck and it's not gonna be fair. Um, and like how you then you have to get to a point where you heal through that, and that even that journey of healing is going to look different on everyone. the way
mhm.
the way that you heal the same thing, we might have like a very similar experience in something, but the way that you find peace and healing in it is going to depend on you, on like who you are as a person. And that's, I think that's such like a big thing that,
Yes.
that
Mm,
you find yourself and you find your healing,
mm.
because that's kind of been my sort of goal since the end of last year, and sort of this year was like to find. I had a therapist and I stopped going to the therapist because I was like, I just don't agree with this anymore, and I started doing my own shit. And I can say what I've done in the last year has been so much more healing and valuable than the last 6 years of fucking therapy. So I'm just like, fuck therapists now. I'm done with y'all. Y'all don't get me. It's fine. Don't have to.
Well, I mean, people might look at us a certain way too.
Yeah.
Like they're definitely going to look at me in a certain way. Like, certain of them, or certain people are going to look at me as a trans woman and be like, "Oh, she's so brave," and "Oh my God, if I cannot hear that ever again, I'm not brave. I just being who I am." Like,
So brave.
people say, "You're so brave. Oh my God, I'm so proud of you." And then there are others who are like, "Freak." Who are
Yeah.
like, look at this failed man who is cosplaying a woman, and doing all this. So
Fuck them.
people look at me, or yeah, absolutely
Fuck
fuck
them.
them, but absolutely fuck them. But like, there are people who look at me a certain way, and they will not understand that the layers inside that have resulted in the woman that stands in front of them today. And
Yeah.
I think when people look at me, they often see like, people in my TikTok followers often describe me as you're very happy, you're very positive. Fuck no, I'm not. Honestly, like that's trauma coming through. I'm just a good show woman. Like, I make it look good. And people might look at, I look at Evie and I see somebody who's bubbly and who's vivacious and active. And a lot of people look at Barbie and they hear about the roster and they see the funny side of things. But what because
Shout
we
out to the
talked.
roster. Thank you very much. There are about fuck knows how many of you now. Hello, hi. If I haven't responded to your message in the last 3 weeks, I've been busy. I'll get to you, baby. I love you. You're the only one that matters. Don't listen to the others. Sorry, that was just so I just have to put that out there. Just
Disclaimer. But yeah,
I love you.
I'd like to give you a chance to address that too, is like where that comes from. And then
Yeah.
yeah, I
But
mean,
also because today, when was it? Was it yesterday or the day before you were talking
yeah.
about someone that you know that listens to us?
Yeah, I
And
did say yesterday that somebody had made a comment to me about our show, Hurricane Girls here, which by the way is on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, and also tonight on GCPR.live. Just gotta get that in there.
just stuck it in there.
Spotify and Apple. Somebody mentioned that this show had actually been very important for their healing process because they they said that, listening to us speak openly and honestly and frankly and humorously about sex
And
and
hilariously.
about things had given them permission to explore that part of their womanhood that they had kind of pushed it down a little bit and kind of given them the license to enjoy a part of them that they hadn't enjoyed for a while, that they've been suppressing. And I told Barbie about this comment here, and because I'm proud of whatever we do that actually helps people.
Yeah.
But and Barbie was saying that this was the time where, maybe it's good for us to talk about, you know, our unhealed traumas or our traumas that we're in the process of healing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean that I'm sure you've got your story to tell here. So tell it then, bitch. Tell it.
So because I mean, of course, like like if anyone has heard me on the pod or they've spoken to me in the last, I would say 6 months or so, they go, "Oh my God," because they hear about the roster and they hear about me going like, "Yeah, I'm gonna fuck everyone." Woo. And that's first a very confronting sort of image to have, especially as a woman, to be like extremely like sort of sex, not even sex positive. I'm like sex enthusiastic, man. I'm sex all for it. I'm like, let's do it. I'm gonna freeze my pussy out in this fucking streets. I don't give a fuck. And this is kind of this like crazy vibe, and I don't know that it perhaps comes across like, oh shit, okay, a certain way. But actually, this has only been something that I have been able to kind of start really living since April this year. So this is very new. This Barbie is new. She's brand new out the box, guys. The plastic is still very nice. And so I spoke to Sheila because I do know that how I speak and what I'm doing is very confronting. To be if I was a man, it wouldn't be an issue. So I spoke to Shields about it, and I said, for me, sex has been for my entire life extremely traumatic. And I will say, if anyone's listening, like I'm not going to go into heavy details on anything, but just like sort of the basics.
This shows a huge trigger warning as it is.
Oh
So,
my
That's what I was
God.
gonna
just
say.
if
Trigger warning. Yeah.
you're still here, but seriously though, if these discussions might trigger you, you might want to
Yeah.
hit pause.
You just dip, okay? You just dip. Don't stress about it. But so for me, I mean, like my parents got divorced when I was quite young, so I was about 9, and very soon after, my mother started dating this man. And like I didn't really have a dad. My dad is not that interested. My dad's still not that fucking interested. I'll be fucking honest. I don't know what I have to do to get your attention, Dad. No, I'm joking. But and I think that and I also then had sort of my mum was up for debate on the is or was version of it, and an alcoholic, did not like me very much. Still doesn't really. Again, mother, what should I have to do for you to love me? No, being very blasé about this. But so I call him my stepfather. He had come into my life at around 10. He passed away now nearly 3 years ago. So for a large majority of my life was the man in my life. And around 12, 13, the attention got a little bit different. But I'm a 12 or was a 12 or 13-year-old girl. And when you've got a dad who's not there and a mother who doesn't particularly seem to like you, and the only other person who did like you, who was my grandmother, passed away. So I was like, well, no one fucking likes me. And your kind of perception of like what is and isn't okay. I mean, this took me until I would say 23 before I ever brought it up. I'd been in therapy this whole time. I never brought this shit up because it was super shameful for me that, that he was viewing me in this kind of way. And it was super weird, and this weird behavior with him carried on well into adulthood. So was that me? I don't even know. I was like, "Bading." I was like, oh dear. But for someone being so young, and it became more and more apparent to me as I got a little bit older, that things were escalating. Now, he's a very clever guy. I'm not that fucking dumb. I know I look stupid, but I'm not. I look stupid, but I'm not that stupid.
No.
And I knew what the legal age of consent was. So at the time, 16. And I, coming up to 16, was getting more and more scared of the fact that if he was going to do something, because he was smart, he wasn't going to do anything to me while I was underage, because then you can't fight your way out of it, right? But if I'm 16, I am technically legal. He is not a blood relative. It is not against the law. And in South Africa, like it's going to be my word against his. Mm-hmm. And so the first time I had sex was on my 16th birthday. And it was in the way that I felt at the time, it was protective, because I could say then, you know what? Yeah, I lost my virginity, because if you are going to do something to me, you won't be the first. And it was like that to me was like a holding on to power thing. So I was dating a boy at the time, but he was super religious and was like, I don't believe in sex before marriage. I was like, right, sucks to suck. I went to a party. I found someone. I was like, hey, I'm a virgin. It's my 16th birthday. I was like, I need to lose my virginity. I was like, I want to throw this away as soon as possible, because I don't want him to have it. I don't want someone to take it. And he was mad, because I came home smelling of like sex and alcohol and just like disgusting. I purposely came home in that state. I was like, it's protective. And for me, for a long time, sex was then almost protective. I knew if I had a boyfriend, have sex, it's like protective, and then it's almost like you have to do it. And so it wasn't that I was still like hypersexual, but the hypersexuality wasn't what I wanted. It was almost like a bartering tool. I used it as like a way to barter. I used it as like a protection thing, and I had that. And then, even in my marriage, sex wasn't that great. But prior to that, I had another long-term relationship, and within that relationship, I suffered like partner rape. Where I was waking up like, what the fuck is going on here? And this is when I am 18 and 19 years old, and like you're in this thing of like, I don't know what to do. Like, no, it's not even a thing in South Africa. They're not going to believe you. They're not going to listen to you. But like sex to me was never, it was a bartering tool. It was a protection mechanism, because you can give someone something and that's better than them taking it. It's safer. And then even within my marriage, it was almost like I know that I have to, and I had this dread of fuck, it's been 2 weeks, so now I kind of have to, but I don't want to. And, you know, anyone that was like sort of in this time, it wasn't really something that I wanted. And then I had a 1-year relationship after that. And even then, it was still sort of to me, and I mean, I'd gone through divorce. I was like dealing with this shit. And I was just like, you know, as long as I have sex with this man, that'll be enough for him to like me enough to look after me. And then I had the breakup, and I had a 3-week, I call it my dating marathon, or we can call it a fuck fest, whichever it is. But even then, I was like, I'm having sex with these men, and it was self-harm. It was like 100% self-harm. I was like, I don't give a fuck. I was so depressed. I was one of probably the most depressed I've been in years. And I was just like doing it because I was like, you know what, I actually don't give a fuck. And it was only in April I met someone who I affectionately call the Sunflower, because he's just lovely.
He was your yellow.
But because you know, he was such a sweet guy, really lovely guy. We did sort of see each other until July, and then it didn't work out, which is great. And I said to him, I want to end it now before I hate you. And I'm eternally grateful to him. And I then with him got to really explore the side of sex, like, okay, let's because he also came from a bit of like an odd background. He was 42 and technically speaking a virgin by like societal sort of what they define it as, because he got married very young as well. They were religious, him and his wife, very religious, and so they didn't have sex before marriage. They got married, and she has vaginismus, so like the muscles clamp shut, which can make penetrative sex
very painful. Yeah.
Very, very painful. He also, because I called him Sunflower and the Monster Cock, because I am of the belief that his dick deserves its own passport. Because so when you are wielding a thing that size, that is called carrying. That is called carrying without a license. Like, Jesus, motherfucker. So, because he told me the story, I knew the story. So he'd said to me, look, technically speaking, because they said they had tried, but the minute that she was in any form of pain, he's like, nope, nope. And which, please do that if your female partner or your male partner, if any partner ever like experiences any fucking pain during sexual intercourse, please stop.
Yes.
That part, you know. And so for him, he was just like, they stopped pursuing this. And it was only then later on that they opened up their marriage, so that they could both try and explore this sort of thing. And so it's sort of in his healing process, I also found mine, because I was now with someone who he was really fucking amazing. Like, you know, in his own nervousness and his own sort of like stress and stuff, it was very freeing. It was very, I will like, you know, he had this huge mirror in his room. There was this massive mirror, and he was like, I love this. And he had it in his room. Never used it for anything because the man wasn't actually having sex. But I loved having this mirror because I got to really connect with myself. I got to watch the two of us. And sometimes I'd like stop him, which is so silly. And I'm like, look how lovely you look. Or he'd stop me and be like, you look so beautiful in this moment, in this position. And it was really, it was amazing. It really was amazing. I can say, like, because I felt no pressure from him. I felt zero. If there was any moment where I was like, I'm not feeling it, I'm not into it, I'm tired, I don't want to, like, there wasn't a need for an excuse. I could just be like, yeah, I kind of just want to like snuggle. And he was like, that sounds so great, let's snuggle. There wasn't okay, well, I guess. It was so, and with him, I really found this like enjoyment of sex, like actually enjoying it beyond, like, I mean, I dated men prior to that. I'm not saying that I never orgasmed. I did, but there's a difference of like, I mean, an orgasm is like a biological function. If I, like any woman, if I take a vibrator to you long enough, you're gonna come, right? I can it's gonna happen. But with him, it was like the first time where I really felt there was no pressure, and I got to be fucking weird, man. We gotta be fucking weird. We got fucking weird. There are certain places in my apartment I just wouldn't sit there. It's clean, but I wouldn't sit there. I could give someone the map if you need it. But it was very raw, and it was very like, I'm not a religious person, I'm not really a spiritual person, but it was almost like spiritual for me, like this freedom and this enjoyment of letting go. And then once I had that, and then as well that I was seeing someone else, and him and I didn't sleep together for the first 2 months that we knew each other. Because he was like, I really love spending time with you. And that was the first time that I'd also had someone that was like, oh yeah, like, I mean, sex is great and all, but like, you're so funny and I love speaking to you. And like, these two people in particular really gave me that, like, that healing, in a sense, that I really got to feel like, wow, I own this. Like, I get to own my sexuality. I get to own what I do and who I do it with. And it's also not all I have to offer, right? It's not everything that I have to offer. It's part of what I have to offer. But it was really these two, for like April and May, were for me like really huge. And in between these, I was still like seeing other people. But it was only really in like April and May that I really had this like full like boom of, wow, I actually fucking love this. Like, I love this feeling of being, and this is like sort of where it really got for me, where I was like, I really like sex. Like, I really like fucking. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna pretend. This is not love making. This is fucking. But I really love it, and it also helped me kind of like, if you look at my roster, right? My roster is impeccable. Like, my roster are really, they're good guys. They really are amazing, amazing guys. None of them are perfect. I am the only perfect one in the situation. That's the God complex coming out. But if you look at,
True,
if I look
though.
at the guys, you know, what can I say? If I look at the men that are in my roster, and bless them, they all know that they're on a roster. And I've said to them, like, I am trying to heal like 31 years. Well, you know, maybe not 31, because it's like sort of from being 12, 13 until age 31. I'm healing all of those years of how I viewed myself, how I viewed my sexuality, how I viewed my ownership of my body and my sexuality and my experience as a sexual being. Like, I don't want to be anyone's fucking girlfriend, right? I'm so thoroughly enjoying the sort of freedom that I have, this really like this amazingness to just be, and also this amazingness to go like, you know, because I think as women particularly, we have a lot of shame around sex. If you fuck too many people, if your body count's too high, and I left that behind, because I was like, no, because I carried shame because of my stepfather. I carried a lot of shame because of him, because what did I do as a 12 and 13-year-old that made a grown man do this?
Nothing.
But you know, when you're young and this
Nothing.
happens, it sticks with you, and you have that like feeling. And even when he died, going on 3 years ago, I had a therapist and I spoke to her, and I was like, because she was like, there seems to be a thing. I'm like, the only problem that I have is, I've tried to find out. He never did anything to my sister. For that, I'm very thankful.
Thank God.
But
Yeah.
no other girls. There've been no other. So was it something I did? Was there something bad in me? And to think that really at age 30, I was having this thought, and I know better. I know better. I do fucking know better. If another woman said that to me, I would like grab her and be like, stop. But it's so entrenched in us to hold on to that shame. And I did. And it was really only in this year that I could go like, no, actually, you know what? I fucking know 12 and 13-year-olds. And they ain't jack shit that a 12 and 13-year-old could do. There is jack shit that a 14, that a 15, that a 16-year-old could do, that a 17-year-old could do.
Nothing.
You know, to kind of, you know, let me feel this way or have this thing. And so, you know, I still carried that shame into 30, and it was only when he died that it really came up, and I was like, oh my God, I'm still I'm still holding on to this. I still feel really crappy about myself. And this is when I sat and I sat and I thought about it and and then I had my fuck fest and I was like, I felt so shitty about the sex. Like it's funny, it's still funny. I find humor in everything. I'll be on
Same.
my deathbed telling
Yeah.
jokes about shit. Like I don't give a fuck. I've been in the psych ward making jokes about like, killing myself because I'm just
Same.
because it's funny. Leave me alone. I gotta
Mhm.
make a joke,
Bitch.
right? But
Mhm.
like I still realized that there was actually something below the surface. And it was so then this year when I got to have, and it was after this April, May, I realized like it doesn't even matter if it's just like a one night stand, like I've chosen it, but there's no guilt and shame. Like I don't feel I don't feel yucky and I don't feel like guilt and I don't feel shame because I actually don't fucking care because I actually like sex. The people that I choose to have sex with are good people. It's all fun. Everyone's safe. Everyone's careful. Everyone's this. But I think because I come across as such a like, yeah, I'll fuck your dad, bitch, and I will fuck your
Mm.
dad. Just this is just a message to anyone. Don't piss me. I will fuck your dad. Um,
Too bad
um,
too.
I will. I will. I will. I do like older men, so just fucking be careful. Right?
That's amazing.
I will fuck your dad. Um, but like I don't feel any guilt and shame and I was like this is so amazing. I'm really having this sort of this moment of really having power and control over like sex and my sexuality and like how I see myself as a sexual person. And this is why I'm just like I don't care if people go like, ooh, she's a slut. Yup. Yeah, I am the best, bitch. I am Switzerland's finest. Fuck off.
Mhm.
um but that's the thing is like
And you
for
fine as fuck,
women,
bitch. You better.
Right. I mean, you
on
got
it.
it.
Okay, baby.
I'm God, and this is why it's so important to me, and this is why it's so
Yeah.
like I'm like I don't want to be anyone's fucking girlfriend because I am just trying to just love like being this person that is like that because it's also very confronting to men because when you go to a man and you're like, look, I'm gonna be honest with you, my brother. I don't want shack shit from you. I don't want a date. I don't want flowers. I don't want like fucking dinners. Like, I think you're cute as fuck. I want to fuck you. And then you can, I mean, you can hang around if you want. You can sleep over. I don't really fucking care. But this is it. And so that comes across as very like coarse and a little bit like Jesus motherfucking Christ. But actually, it's my healing journey that I'm really enjoying sex. Like, I love it. It's so much fun, even when it's bad sex. Like, I had one on the weekend. Man, it was not good, but it's fucking funny. The sex was bad, but it was fucking funny. Which is totally. And it was in France. I crossed the border to go and fuck. Like, this is how I'm an international bitch. I be crossing borders. I be crossing borders to fuck. I'm running out of people here in Switzerland, so I'm be crossing the border. Watch out. I might be crossing your border soon. You don't know. You ain't safe, motherfuckers. Just because you're not in the same country as me, you ain't safe. I'll be coming there, fucking up your dad. I'll be fucking you, be fucking your dad. But yeah, the sex wasn't good, but it was really. We had a great conversation about. He's like, wow, you're really like you're kind of open. I'm like, I'm very open, and I love it. And I do, and this is why for me it is like such a liberation thing, and it is such a like I'm gonna continue fucking doing this until I find I don't know the perfect person, which is me. I'm gonna find a mirror and I'm gonna be like a bird and I'm gonna talk to myself in the fucking
Fuck
mirror all
yeah.
day.
Oh yeah.
I can confirm that my chicken does that. My bird, my cockatoo, he looks at himself and like literally he goes and blows kisses in the mirror. So, hey,
That's gonna be
bitch,
me.
you
That's
better.
gonna be me. That's gonna be me.
Mm.
I'm gonna be settling down with a fucking mirror. That's gonna be me. When I settle down, it's
Absolutely.
gonna be with a
Just
mirror. But
love
until then,
yourself. Love your fucking self. And that's all you need.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying, like, I am so thoroughly enjoying just having my fucking roster of God knows how many. And Yeah, it's so good. And
Mm.
if I think like, oh my God, I felt so shitty about myself and I felt so much shame attached to
Mm.
this stuff, or like it was like a punishment, or it was, sort of this way to kind of berate myself.
Mm.
And now it's like, it's so much fucking fun. Even when the sex is bad, it's still fucking hilarious. Now,
Right.
I love that.
I
Oh,
love it too. I think she's frozen
she's
here.
frozen.
oh,
We lost
fucked,
her
like
from
fucked people
there. She
from.
is.
So like, so if I've got the little like European list, and if you're from this country, I mark you off my list. It's horrible. It's fucking terrible. Um, but I'm enjoying it, and to me, it's just like it's
Mm.
such an amazing journey, and I'm
This is
oh
why I fucking love you. Because
Yeah.
you're the real one. Like honestly, and that is just
Mm.
I mean, you've owned it. You've come back and you've owned it. And it's not the end of the journey for you. I mean, there's still more healing to do, I would imagine,
oh yeah,
but it definitely
yeah,
I mean, and if healing comes in the form of dicks, I mean,
absolutely.
let maybe you'll suck the cure out of one of them at some point in time. I mean,
One
who
of these
knows?
motherfuckers got to have some good shit in them. I'll figure it out. Watch me. I'll be like
I
so mentally
mean,
stable, and people be like, "What happened?" Be like, "This one motherfucker's dick." It's just like pure
right. It's
antidepressants.
right. It's just like, no, this fairy dust coming out of this bitch
Yeah,
here.
this man's dick cured all of my mental
I
illness.
I swear I almost hate to interrupt this, but we are at the top of the hour, so I'm going to reset the show just a
Yes,
little
reset
bit.
us, reset us.
My name is Sheila. We are the Hurricane Girls. We are the Daughters of Darkness, the Sisters of Rage. We are the Sex Goddesses as well, and we are the Goddesses curse upon mediocre men, nature's happy little accidents. I am Hurricane Sheila, the internet sex girlfriend, and I am here with my besties here, Hurricane Barbie, from Switzerland.
We
We
love her.
have Hurricane Evie here, from New York by way of Guatemala. And so we've all got sort of a different take on everything, and we're here to share our perspectives, which are going to be different, but also just remember we're friends, and we're just women when it all comes down to it.
Mm.
We are broadcasting right now on YouTube at Hurricane Girls. If you want to head over to Twitch, we're at Hurricane Girls there too. I am also on my Facebook page, Miss Sheila Chappelle, broadcasting as well.
Mm.
We are going to be live tonight, the replay on gcpr.live. We will be there at 9 o'clock Eastern time, and we will also be available later on tonight on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So by all means, pick us up wherever you can get us. If you don't get to see us live, you still get to see us. We're always there. If you want to go back, look at our previous shows. The faces may be a little bit different, but we are still talking about the same things. And the biggest reason that I love this show is because it does explore what it's like. Womanhood is a mysterious thing to a lot of people out there. It's mysterious to women, but it's even more mysterious to men. I think they don't understand it. Some, stories like this, they might be like,
Mm.
well, you know what? Um, you know, we're just sluts. We're just
Yeah.
we're just run through, and like, I'm sorry, sir, but your dick is not the cure. Like that the cure is still waiting out there somewhere.
Mm.
Curious sunflower, apparently. I'm just like
Oh, listen, if I
I'm in
could
love with
clone that man,
sunflower.
if I could clone that man
I've
and
never
just
seen
like,
him and I'm in love with him.
I
have
know.
I not
Yeah.
sent him to you? He
You
was the
have.
most beautiful looking creature. He had this long hair, but it's like shaved on the side. Beautiful and so soft and so gentle. And I used to love watching him. He had like almost a very feminine like energy about him, because like he always, the way he did stuff with his hands was like very like
Mm.
it's like, and I'm like, you're so pretty. It used to irritate him. I used to say to him like, you're so pretty, and he was like, pretty is a weird word to describe a man. And I was like, I know, but
Mm.
the gracefulness and like the fluidness in your movements
Mm.
is pretty
Mhm.
to me. And he was lovely because he was also, with him and even his sexuality and his identity and his the way, because he said, he is not a masculine, he's not a masculine guy like a man,
Mm-hmm.
he's a kind of boy's boy. He never had been, and he actually got bullied a lot. And when he was younger, I mean, he's now 43. He got bullied a lot when he was younger, and so for him, he said it was almost as well for him, like kind of like liberating as well, to be like, oh, the way I am, not being hyper masculine, is actually super attractive to someone. That poor man. Listen, when it got to that week of the month when I was ovulating, that poor man, I think he was just like, like he got scared. I was like, babes, I'm ovulating. Hey, I'm going to be ovulating next week. I think the man got scared. He was like taking out life insurance. Because I was like, for me, almost the first time of really wanting to initiate sex. Sex was usually happening to me, but this was the first time I was like initiating. I was like, bitch. I used to travel to see him in Basel. That's like 2 hours away. I'd be getting like close to Basel. I'm like, I fucking hope you're ready. Like I get into his apartment and I'm like, come here, you motherfucker. Which is like really a first for me. Like I really yeah. Oh God. No, Sunflower was amazing. If I could like copy clone him and just send him to everyone, I would. Absolutely just a stunning, stunning human being.
What a feeling though to get to embrace yourself, and I get the dynamic that you're talking about is you're actually literally reclaiming something that was taken away from you forcefully, like that was removed from your life and that you were rendered powerless over, but you're like, no, fucking no, I am taking this back. And I'm not only just taking this back, I'm not only sneaking into the stable and stealing the horse that you stole from me. I'm riding that motherfucker across the Cimarron. I'm like, no, no, it's not happening anymore. You're not taking this from me. And it's power. It's pure power.
It's
And
really, and that's the thing, is like I feel powerful during sex, and that is to me. And it was him and I initially, like the first month, and it was like us figuring stuff out. Because again, he's a virgin, was a virgin, kind of, or whatever. Let's not even go on what is it virginity, because that's a complex topic in itself. But for him as well, also having to learn stuff, and and when you have a huge fucking dick, when you have a monster cock, you got to be careful, booby, because some positions are tricky and you got to get the angle right. Because otherwise you're going to pop a hole in my shit. Like, I need this shit. This is very valuable to me. This shit is very valuable. This is gold to me, baby. And so like we had conversations because we'd suddenly move and I go, ooh, and he'd like, he'd freak out. I'm like, oh no, 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 no. So like, don't worry. I'm fine. But it was really, we had conversations about sex and about like, this felt really good. And this felt, this is really nice. And it was really taking back this power and control. And I feel like powerful now having sex. Like I enjoy it. And it's a powerful feeling for me. And I get to really lose myself in it. Like, yeah, we did. It was super raw, and it was super intense, and it was also fun. I've gotten like the giggle fits during sex. And the problem is, like, I've laughed so hard that I end up like, obviously, like, you laugh and it's your stomach muscles, but that clamps everything. I've like knocked men right out of me from laughing. I laughed till I cried at one point, like in the middle of sex. I was like, wasn't laughing at the man. It's like something happened and then I started laughing. I mean, I have laughed at men during sex. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna pretend I'm a good person. I'm not. I have laughed at men during sex. Like, please don't say weird shit to me. Like, please don't generally say anything, but also like, please don't try and fuck me in German, because I can't. It's like, German is great for many things. Fucking is not one of them.
That's some angry sex.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. Oh my God.
It was hard. Listen, I was just like, the first time it happened, I was like, oh, because bless him, bless his fucking. I hope whatever drink he drinks is always like the best version of that drink he's ever had. And like amazing. It was just amazing. I hope that he, like, every time he goes to his wardrobe, he finds like his favorite shirt is clean and ready for him to wear. That is how much like I give him. Yes, but
I mean, yeah, just the power I think is a
yeah.
big thing coming back off of, like, a near death experience or a sexual trauma or something like that. This anything you do after that that affirms you is
Yes.
power.
Ah,
It is
it's made
power
me so
reclaiming yourself.
confident in like it's actually literally feeling powerful during sex has made me more confident in like the rest
I've
of my
seen that
life.
in you.
It's made me so
I've
much more.
witnessed that. As I've known you for 4 years, and you're way more
You have.
confident now than
Mm,
I
before.
am. I I am. I'm more, and it's not just in like my interactions with men that I am potentially dating. It is in everything. I
everything.
just feel like this
Mhm.
like weight and burden has been lifted.
Mm,
Because it's with Sunflower, even there was other topics because we used to sit on his balcony until 2 in the morning discussing life and love and philosophy and trauma and everything. And I will say, I like, man, I owe this fucking man so much. He was starting to be a social worker. Like, he's really one of these people. And he, I will say, healed a lot for me.
mm,
So did this other person that I was seeing. And like, we also had these conversations, but it's made me, yeah, I had like a lot that I got rid of. And I will say, April, May, or like months that really changed me. And I feel so much more
Mhm.
confident. I feel so set in myself. I feel really comfortable in myself. And I keep joking that I'm perfect. I know I'm not perfect. I used to care so much. I have stretch marks. I've had a child. I have this. I have that. I used to care so much. I don't give a fuck about shit anymore. Like,
Mhm.
I really feel I really feel happy in me. I really feel happy in being
mm,
me and just
mm.
it's so
Ugh,
great. Like,
Yeah.
I get to step forward into the world as not a product of the bad shit that happened, but rather as like this healed, like, yeah, the bad shit happened and it did happen. And it does leave
leaves
scars
a
and
mark.
wounds.
Yeah.
But I've gone and like colored in over them. And I have, done like my little squiggly flowers over the top of them and like, fuck you.
Yeah.
And it's changed. And just from for me dealing with like the sexual trauma and how that has changed all aspects of my life, how I see myself, how
Mhm.
I view sort of myself as a person, not just a woman, but as a human. Like, it's
Yeah.
unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. And just to have that experience, I'm so lucky. Like, I'm just like, oh my God, I don't know who sent me um, particularly those two men. I don't know. I have had others that along the way have also helped me with certain things, but those two in particular, I don't know who sent them to me, be it God, be it the universe, be it fate, be it just like pure, sheer, dumb fucking luck. But whoever, whatever it was, I am like eternally grateful because I would
Mm,
not feel this way and I would not be this person if
mm,
if it wasn't for meeting these people and for them giving me the space and the energy and the love and the care to really explore who I
mm,
am and what I am and what I like and what I truly like. What does like Barbie actually enjoy? Am I a contact? Am I a physical touch person? Because for
mm,
years I thought I wasn't.
mm.
I was not a physical. I am the most physical touch person. Like, if I can put like a finger on you, I'm happy. Can I just put? I'll just. I know you don't like to cuddle, but can I just put my finger on you? Just this one. This thing. I love contact. Like, I
Me
am a
too.
sexual person. And it's down to that. And it's this is why when this friend of Sheila's who said listening to this helping her heal her sexual stuff. I was like, this is maybe an important thing to have. Like, you can like
Mhm.
heal stuff through really getting to know yourself and really sitting and picking apart the shit. So pick it apart
Mm,
because like we
mm,
can't ignore our
Mhm.
trauma. If you're not in a good space to do it, I, hit rock bottom and explored mine. That was a fucking maybe not the greatest idea, but when you get to a space of where you're ready to heal, I think the universe opens up opportunities for you if you're brave enough to take them.
Right.
And I think that's true for anything, with anything, with Evie saying like, hey, like all this fucking shit happens. This is the diagnosis. Like 50 is going to be like a woohoo thing.
I'm
like,
gonna throw a big ass party and all your bitches coming, okay?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Girl, I'm gonna be shaking
You better
Listen,
shake it.
I
You
will.
better.
I will shake that
I will
ass.
You
shake.
better.
I'm gonna shake my pussy on the pavement outdoors. Watch me. I'll plaster my pussy all over the pavement. It's gonna be a hoedown.
Hey.
Reclaiming the power. Reclaiming the
Oh,
power. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Evie.
I've been kind of quiet because this is actually quite triggering for me. And we had this conversation in our little group chat that I actually kind of stayed away from this week because it was a really crazy week last week. And then as soon as I got that text, because Sheila, I think at this point realizes that me and WhatsApp I forget that it exists. So she texted me. She was like, "Hey, girl." So I went and I checked, and it is a little triggering. I mean, this is the first time I've said this out loud publicly. Like my family doesn't even know. My kids know, and their father knows. But other than that, like my immediate family does not know. But yeah, trauma. I was a baby. I think the youngest was around 6. So it definitely is a trigger. But I'm so glad that I ignored my initial knee-jerk reaction. Because when I got that text from Sheila, I was like, I wrote back to her and I was like, I don't know if I can do that.
I don't know.
I don't know if I can sit through it. I literally, I think I said those words like, I don't know if I can handle it, but let me sit on it is what I think I said to you, right, love? I said, let me sit on it and let me think about it. But I think that I am so glad that I didn't skip it because it is such an important thing to say out loud. As an almost 42-year-old woman who's still dealing with it. Barbie, you're an example of what it is to take back your power. You are an example of what it is to.
Yeah, we're all gonna start now.
To look at what's happened to you and say, it doesn't define me. It doesn't make or break me. I am going to be me no matter what. And I think that is so important. That is so important in this day and age. That is so important in a world where this country elected a fucking rapist. So like, let's be real. Let's be for real. Like I've seen a lot of comments on online this week and last week that were basically like, what's the point of telling your
story? It's so important to tell it, right? Because you don't know
there
who
is a point.
Yes.
You don't know who it's going to help.
And I think, when I got married when I was 18, because I never knew what it was like to be my own person. I kind of always felt like property because of everything I endured as a kid. And then I went right into a marriage. I got pregnant, went right into a marriage, and I still didn't know who I was. And I'm still figuring it out. At 41, I'm still figuring it out. So I have to say, Barbie, like, I am so fucking glad to know you. I am so glad to see you in your early 30s finding yourself, because that wasn't something that I was able to do until my 40s. And I am so glad that you are able to do that and that you are speaking on it publicly and that you have shared your story with everybody here today, because that's not easy. I don't know that I could.
It's hard.
I don't know that I could.
It took me time, and I've done it slowly. I've done it in bits and pieces. I did it really in bits and pieces.
Thank you, because it's necessary.
Yes.
Thank you.
To get because that's the thing. for being my crazy But you know
I'm
what as
not wearing
well.
waterproof eyeliner.
Like, but you know what's important is, and this is the one thing that I like really took, is that it's okay for shit to break you, because it did
Yes.
break me for a long time. It did break me, and it's okay to feel broken. And that was the thing I think that I did for myself, was I gave myself, I allowed myself and gave myself space and time to be broken.
That freedom. Yeah.
Hmm.
And it was like I let myself be broken, because it took me, I saw like how many fucking therapists, um and I never brought it up, and only in my 20s did I, and then I didn't bring it up again for a long time. And it was, it took me a long ass fucking time. And this is, I always say to people, like, wherever you are in your journey, like your journey, your healing journey ends the day you breathe your last breath. That
That
means
Indeed.
part. That
Hmm.
part.
that
Yeah.
means that if you get to, like, age 94 and 300 days, 12 hours and 4 minutes, if
Yeah.
you carry on healing until that third minute and then you find your healing, you fucking won. You
That's it.
fucking won.
Hmm.
It does
That
not
part.
have to be, it doesn't have to. And I think that was the big thing, is that I was so obsessed with healing that I actually didn't heal. And when I
Mm.
gave myself freedom to be broken, like, fucking cry. Do the thing that is, maybe do the thing, which is what I did, my fuck fest of 3 weeks. That was breaking me.
I love
I
that,
was,
by the way.
girl, I was out here fucking everybody. This is why I got to be careful in Zurich. I got to be careful in Zurich, because everywhere I go, I know some people. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't see your penis. Hold on a minute. It's so hard for me to go on a date in Zurich, because I'm like, I fuck too many folk right here. I'm
It's
gonna
so
run into
funny.
someone.
I guess like it's funny how similar we are, but it's also funny how differently we respond to
Yeah.
things. Because I'm over here like I cannot wait to like I cannot wait to die alone.
Right.
Like, I can't.
And I say that on a daily basis. Like
Girl,
whenever
you got
when
kids
I
and,
see my best
dogs
friend,
and
like
birds.
listen, when I see my friends like arguing with their husbands, I'm like, I literally will look at their kids. It's kind of like, like in the office when like Jim makes eye contact and breaks that wall, and makes eye
Yeah.
contact with the
Yeah.
camera, and he's like, I literally will look at their children and I'll be like, I can't wait to die alone. It's gonna be so beautiful. Nobody can tell me shit.
No one can tell me
And when I
shit.
say like alone, I don't mean alone. I know I am unbelievably lucky and like beyond blessed, right?
Hmm.
I have found incredible humans that are in my corner, even when I don't deserve it. I am so
Always
lucky
deserve
and
it.
so blessed. Bitch, I love you. Thank you for
I
that.
Yes.
love you.
But we
I
know
love
that's not
you.
Liz,
true.
we're not gonna go there with the not deserving it
but
shit. No, we
but you know
No.
deserve
what I mean?
it.
Like I really have. But like I mean in the sense that like I'm myself. I belong to myself and nobody gets to say anything to me. And I love that
Exactly. I
because
love that for you.
that wasn't my life, I
No.
mean that wasn't
Yeah.
that wasn't the
No.
majority of my life.
Well, when I
So
listen
I
to
love that.
you, when I listen to you two tell your stories about your power and reclaiming it too, it also, I can identify with that
Yes.
very, very, very much
Yes. Yes,
because
you can.
because as a trans
Mhm.
woman, my journey is much different than yours, but it's also a lot of it is the same because much of this is about reclaiming power
Power.
over
Yeah.
myself. Like, I was born into a very religious family. My father was the pastor. I was
Same.
in the pew the day after I was the Sunday after I was born. I was indoctrinated. I had to memorize the Bible. I had to be taught, and it was always here's the role of men, here's the role of women, here's what people are supposed to do who have penises, and here's what people who have vaginas are supposed to do. And I always knew that I didn't fit into that spectrum. I didn't fit into that dichotomy, except on the side that I wasn't supposed to be. And I had to push that down for so long. And I had to, until I was 17, I had to just pretend it wasn't there. And then 17, I got to go to college and got to experiment around because the internet was a new thing. I'm going to date myself a little bit, but text-based internet was a new thing when I went to college. And That was before the time when we had to scan a picture and for it to be online. And it was so I had plenty of chance to go onto online spaces, go onto message boards and chats and things like that, and be who the fuck I wanted to be. And I thought, well, who the fuck do you want to be?
Yeah.
And then I was like, I was like, it's definitely a girl. Like I've felt that way for a long time, but I'm like, you know what? I get to be who I want to be on this online space. It's maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes at a time, but I get to be myself for a minute or two. And so what's your name? What's my name going to be? It's like I'm going to type the first thing that comes out of my fingers, Sheila. Sheila came out of my fingers, and I'm like, here's this moment of power even in that. And getting to reclaim that. But I knew I was still sitting at a computer in a very, very conservative Christian college with very, very conservative parents who were never going to be okay with that. They were never going to be okay with me being bisexual. They were never going to be okay with me being femme. And so I had a role to fill, for the longest time. And I pushed that down for long enough to get married to somebody who I had no business being married to because I I was attracted to her, but not that way.
Yeah.
I saw her as somebody I wanted to be like, not
Yeah.
as somebody I wanted to be with. And like I looked at her beautiful body and I was like, I want one like that. Like I want one like that. I want my ex is one of the best at makeup that I have ever known. And I would watch her every morning as she's getting ready. And I'm like, and then some mornings when she didn't do her makeup, I'm like, "Oh, come on, I need to
Come
learn.
on, do your
Like, no,
makeup.
I
I'm
need you to do your
watching.
makeup as I'm watching you. I'm watching how she does her eyeliner, how she does things like that. And I'm like, I just need this. I need to hear
Yeah.
this, see this. And I often mistook um sexual attraction for just wanting to be that person. Like
Okay.
I would see a beautiful woman in her body and I would think, you know, I want to fuck that, but actually I think maybe I just want to be that, like
Yeah.
I just want to have that feature, that attraction. I'm admiring somebody and I can't figure out, do I love this person or do I just want to be this person? And it turns out maybe a little bit of both on some,
Little
but
bit of
like,
both.
like a little bit of both because I am pansexual, bisexual, pansexual. I definitely have that attraction to women. I'm attracted to men against my will entirely. But, and that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother piece to accept, for my conservative family. But, you know, no matter how hard I tried, during this journey, no matter how hard I tried to be the good little preacher boy, the good little Christian boy, the one who mom and dad are proud of,
It just
uh,
wasn't
th-
you.
they
Wasn't
know,
you.
no, it wasn't me, and they never
That part.
were. They
That
never
part.
were, even before they knew about transgender or anything like that. They never were proud of me for anything that I did. And so everything that I would do was just not good enough for them. I had several um things, after I got out of college and I put Sheila to the side for a moment. I was like, Sheila was fun in college. That was good for while I was online, but now it's off to the real world, you know. And I have to be the man I'm supposed to be. And I missed her. I missed me so
Can
much.
can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Do you remember the first day that you went out? Like in like the first day that you went out and you were like, I'm going out. I'm a woman and I'm going out as a woman. The first
Yes,
what was that
I
day? Like
do. this was years down the road. My kid was
Yeah, of
8 years
course.
old. You know, I had pushed down my sexuality and my gender long enough. This, by the way, being a trans woman and being expected to perform sexually as a man is fucking soul crushing.
Yeah, I can
It's
imagine.
right, and having to sire a child, was because then I'm like, I already didn't like sex that much because I'm like, I don't want to be this, don't want to fucking
Yeah.
be this. And then, then when she's like, do you want to have a kid? And I'm like, uh, um,
I guess.
um, and that means you've got to have sex every fucking night because you're trying hard to get pregnant. And then finally she's like, I think I'm pregnant. I'm like, thank fucking
Fuck.
God. Oh,
Bitch,
like,
that took a long ass time. Were you even trying?
it took a couple of months for that to happen. And I'm like, Jesus, fuck. But, and that to me, that also was part of what killed my marriage because I was like, I could not be that sexual person that she wanted to be. She wanted a
Because
real
it's
man.
inauthentic. It's because
Right.
it's
It's
inauthentic,
inauthentic.
right? The way that you're performing sexually is
Right.
inauthentic.
And I avoided it because I avoided it because it was painful. And like, I would make the foreplay last for so long. Listen, I've got muscles in my tongue that I'm like fucking Popeye. It's like, it's like I would sit down there and write the goddamn Constitution with my tongue. Like, just fucking like,
That's a
okay.
constitution.
That's a transferable skill, babe. We are putting that on the
I
resume.
I mean, I would focus on that for so long because I just didn't want to get to the part where I had to climb up on top of her and take her to Pound Town because
Yeah, because it's
that's
not
not me.
authentic. It's
It's
just
not
not you.
authentic, and then it's not what I wanted. But I knew it's what she wanted, so I wanted to give that to her. But that meant I avoided sex like the plague. Like I
Yeah.
always had a reason why I couldn't have sex. Like maybe well, I didn't have time to take a shower before I went to bed, so I don't feel like having sex, or I need to go work on something here in the other room,
Miss Sheila was
this
like,
and
I don't
that.
wash my ass. I got a stank ass. Leave me alone. Like
Listen,
any
nobody
reason.
expects men to wash their ass anyway. Like,
She's like, I got a
Wow.
stank ass. I got
Wow.
some stanky ass ball. I like, nah, I'm not into it.
no, but like I avoided all that.
Just Sheila not taking a shower for 2 weeks.
And of
Yeah.
course,
Just
of
like stanking up
course,
the whole fucking house. Just being like, no.
let me tell you, I'm fresh as a
Like, you
whistle
don't
today.
see
I've
this dirty
cleaned
ass.
it. I'm
She with her dirty
I'm
ass getting
fresh
to
as a
bed like, don't fuck
daisy.
me. I'm nasty. I'm nasty.
But
Yeah,
like there are avoidance tactics like that. I gained a lot of weight to keep from having sex, and
Wow,
like
yeah.
just, going through
Mm.
all of that and just being like, no, I can't
Mm.
do this. And of course, when she saw that,
Mm.
she thought, well,
She internalized it
you don't
probably.
love me. You don't love me.
Yeah.
You don't, I'm not attractive. I must be hideous. She's not. She's anything but.
Yeah.
She's one of the most beautiful people I've ever
Oh.
known in my life.
But that's also a trauma on her
I love
part
that.
because as women,
Yeah,
we also get told
Yeah.
if we're not sexually desirable, we're
right.
less valuable. But then at the
Well,
same
Less
and
time,
than.
you're like, but you are. It's just like not to me, babes. Like
I
a
was her
lot of people,
first too.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
she was 22 years old. She was a virgin. She had never been with a man at all before. And so
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Listen, Priscilla, I know you're not watching, but I am so fucking sorry that I had to be your first. Like honestly,
we're
like
sorry, Priscilla.
you should have been more choosy. No, like you should have just told me
Could have been
no.
more choosy,
But like,
girl.
like
Girl,
no,
you
but
got bad taste. You got
like
bad. Your
no.
taste in men is so bad that you didn't even fuck a man. You fucked a woman.
LOL.
What's
I
wrong with you,
know,
Priscilla? What's wrong
like
with you,
10
girl?
years of a
Get your shit
lesbian
together.
relationship.
Love
My
that.
God. Yeah, like
It's a straight woman getting tricked into lesbian
an
relationships. Like Sheila.
accidental
That
lesbian.
part.
Jesus. Yeah. But
Girl, Priscilla, girl, we gotta talk because your taste in men is so bad that you avoided men
I mean,
altogether and you started
really,
fucking a woman.
truly,
Hilarious.
and it's funny in
Girl.
retrospect, but in
No.
in
Of
the
course
in
it's
the
like,
days of it, it
No,
was
no,
it was
no.
oh
fucking
no.
What
mind
was
warping.
what was funny was what she said. What she said, you you missed it so hard that you fucked a woman. Like that shit sent me.
No, right?
That's what was funny to me.
Like
Yeah.
you were looking
Priscilla's
for a manly man, looking
Priscilla's
for a
taste in
manly
men
man.
is
You got
just
the
so bad that she just
You
well,
missed
to
like
oh,
hardcore, like
to
dead ass.
to
Poor
paraphrase
girl.
what Celtic Jen just said about me before,
I'm
like
dead.
I'm like she tried to get a manly man, but she found the girliest girl that's ever girled.
Girl.
Like
yeah.
literally.
That
Girl,
part, babe.
Priscilla, we gotta talk, babes, because you're on some other shit. You're on
Oh,
some other
listen, no,
bullshit,
she
babe.
she's been on your journey for a little bit now, but she finally did find somebody to
I'm
settle down
so
with.
glad for her.
She's
Yeah.
So like
she
And
honestly, like
deserves that.
I
as a
support
girl's
it.
girl, I'm so glad that she's on
I
that journey.
was
Like
not
she's on that
excited
journey.
about
Fuck
it.
yeah.
I was not
No, I
excited
get
about it
that.
before because I did not want to get divorced. But like at the same time, in retrospect, I'm fucking proud of her for doing
But
what she
Sheila,
did.
you realize that your divorce is not a failure on your behalf.
No, no, and there's a
I
reason
think
why
it's
divorces
important for you
cost
to
so
know that.
goddamn much. The
Yeah.
reason
Yeah.
divorces cost so goddamn much is because they're fucking worth it.
Yeah, it's not
And
her fault.
yeah,
It's not your fault. It is just
no.
unfortunately life. And you
She's in a better
because of your
place. I'm
upbringing,
in a better
yes,
place. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
that's a win, I think, on both
I'm gonna blame
sides.
religion. I'm gonna blame
You
religion because
absolutely
you
should
you literally
because
like that's how I look at it. Like honestly, like I blame religion because of religion, you were made to feel that you could not be you.
yes, and absolutely, and the reason I got married is because my religion told me to. Like
100%.
you're supposed to find a woman, settle down, pop out a kid or four, and then that's that. But to Barbie's question there, like I knew for my whole life that I
Yeah.
knew
Yeah.
that there was girl shit going on in this head of mine. And after I got divorced, I knew it before I got divorced, obviously, but after I got divorced is when I sort of had permission. It got slowed down a little bit because I jumped into another relationship, got engaged for 3 years, and then I told that
Miss
person.
Sheila is the stereotypical fucking lover girl.
Mhm.
I am your antithesis. I am the opposite of you because you are the stereotypical lover girl. This girl,
Yeah.
she's like, I just wanna love somebody. She's like, I don't care, girl, ma'am.
I don't do well being alone. I'm getting used to that. I'm working on that. But like, you know, I put it off. I told this person I was like, I am transgender, but I did not transition at the time.
Yeah,
And she would ask me lots of questions. It confused the shit out of her, but she's just
of
like,
course.
I don't know how to act with this. But after that relationship was over and after COVID happened and I had to move back to the US, it was the perfect timing for me to say, okay, me to sit down with all this and say, okay, I know who I am inside. And
Yeah.
there's no denying it any further. And it's time to fucking do something about it. And when you talked about the first time that I ever went out in public, I was living with my
I
parents.
do you know why I want you know why I want that you know why I want that story because I think that is your like your big ta-da fucking moment.
It was for the world. There would be more fuck you moments later that would involve my
Yes,
parents, but like
but that's your first fucking ta-da fuck you
the
moment. That's
first
your true like
time.
power, like boom. Because doing something at home and being like, okay, no one's watching. Let me just like put on a lick of mascara quickly. But actually, I think for like the trans community, I've the trans friends that I have, I always ask them, do you remember the first time you went into public as your authentic self? Because I think that like
Yeah.
I love those stories. I think they're so powerful
Well, I'll
because it's
tell you it
scary.
then. Here's mine. So there's actually two times here really, but the first time was Halloween. Very safe holiday for trans women, Halloween. So I didn't do a whole lot. Like I put on a nice leather jacket. I let my hair was blonde at the time. I let it, and it was down to my shoulders. So I let my hair down and I put on some eyeliner. I did a little light eyeshadow and put a little quote unquote guy liner and then red lipstick. And then went to my friend Danielle's bar. And it's like I knew I knew her as the bartender there. I was like, okay, this is going to be a place that's going to be safe for me. So I went
Mm.
out Halloween. I had plausible deniability, and I
Yeah,
and I went out there and I was fan. I was fucking fabulous. I still have a picture from that night. And
love
I was still going by a dead name at that time, and it was still, I hadn't come out as trans to anybody, but it was the first time I went out
but
with
it was for
makeup on my
you.
fucking face, right?
Exactly.
But it was your moment.
It
Like
was
it didn't matter if
The
anyone
exactly
else knew.
the
that part.
real moment, though,
Hmm.
it's my friend Vanessa and I used to go out to clubs on Saturday nights, and we would, she'd text me, be like, "What you doing?" And I'd be like, And by the way, when I say this, I love black women so much because trans women and black women, listen, we're good. Like I have never had a black woman shame me for being trans. They're the biggest allies that I have ever seen out there. And so, Vanessa, was like, "What you doing?" And I'm like, "Let's go out." And she's like, "Well, I picked this time, you picked this time." And, and then I said, "Okay." And I went and Googled the gay bars. And so I'm like, "Okay, we're gonna go see drag. We're gonna go see
Oh,
drag." And I was like, "Cool." So she didn't know what was about to happen. So I got there and I showed up. And I showed up with my hair
made
pink,
up.
As yourself.
colored
As
my
yourself,
hair.
mama.
I had taken the bottle shit from Walmart and colored my hair pink. I had I had the worst fucking makeup ever on. I had the most sloppy eyeshadow and eyeliner and lipstick. I sat down. I had on a pink LGBTQ shirt with my little shorts and everything. And I sat down and she said, "I love it. You look beautiful." And I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I do."
I love that.
And it was the first night, and I always tell her is like, "You were the one I really first came out with," and it's that
Hey.
that bar is always going to hold a special place in my
Mm,
heart too, because for the first few months after coming out, that was where I was. Like when I got home, I was staying with my parents, so I had to,
mm,
when I came to the door, I had to,
You had
take
to
it,
like detransition every
right.
time that you're going inside.
It was really hard to hide the nail polish and the pink hair, but I just would always be like, "Well, this is just me and Hermione, my daughter,
Yeah,
experimenting. It's just funsies." And they were always willing to accept that, so they didn't have to admit that I was
yeah.
kind of, weird, but like,
not
you
weird.
know, I know, not weird, but
Not
I'm just
weird,
speaking
baby.
in their
I
terms.
know.
But
I
In
know
your
that.
terms.
I would go out every afternoon I got to, I would take a bag with me.
Mm,
I would go park behind the supermarket where nobody could see. I would change clothes. I would put on my makeup in the rearview mirror of my car, and then I'd go out somewhere. But it might just be going to Target or shopping somewhere, or might be going to a club. And I was garbage with makeup at first,
mm,
and then slowly just over the years have learned what my hairstyle needs to be and what my makeup needs to be. And I think I'm doing a pretty goddamn good job of it right now as I'm
Wow.
looking at myself in the camera. My eyes are popping tonight, but
Your
like,
eyes are so blue tonight.
they're
yeah,
so
they're super
blue. They're
blue.
so
And I've got
pretty.
like a ring light right here shining right on me like the goddamn
Yeah.
sun. But it's, you know, the first few times of going out, they are power empowering.
Yeah.
And there was always this little bit of dread that as I let my friends know one by one, and certain members of my family, I let them know. I made myself a new Facebook, and I made myself, public to everybody until it got down to my parents being the last ones to know.
Mm,
And that was after another boss bitch move that I did, which was going to court and getting my name officially changed. And I should have known. I should have probably waited just a touch longer, but I should have realized that mail was going to start coming to my house.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
yep.
with my name on it, and it's like, my parents coming out and saying, "Who is Sheila Chappelle, and why is she getting mail at our address?" And me just being like, "Oh, that's my friend. I'll take it,"
Yeah.
and
Don't
do
worry.
that
Don't worry.
because,
That's a friend of mine. Don't worry about it.
yeah, I mean,
mm.
because it wasn't yet safe, and I hadn't 100%
Ugh, my heart.
finalized my, I had 100% finalized my moving out. I was working on it, By the
Yeah.
time they figured it out, they were like, "Who is Sheila Chappelle?" And I'm like, I already had my apartment booked and everything. I was getting ready to move. It's like, Sheila is me. What do you mean Sheila is you? That's not your name. I'm like, actually,
Yeah, it
kind of
fucking is.
is. It
Yeah,
kind of
it fucking
is.
is.
And they're like, well, why would your name be Sheila? I'm like, because I'm a trans woman. Have you not figured this out yet?
Like, yo, I
And
gotta spell it out for y'all. What?
yeah,
Come on.
and my mom just stopped, turned around, walked off. And then my dad came back in about 20 seconds later and he's like, are you transgender? And I'm like, uh-huh,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
uh-huh. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
you're and yes, and you are the official last one to fucking know.
Mm,
And I'm sorry you're learning like this, but it is what it is.
That's just what it
And
is.
then from that moment forward, I this was me everywhere. Fucking
yes.
at
This
home,
bitch will not even video
everywhere.
call me without makeup on.
I won't.
This is how much of like a fucking Barbie doll she is. I'm fucking
Word.
Barbie, but she's a fucking Barbie
I won't
doll
even
on
go out
the
to
nose.
take out the trash without this on. Kidding
Girl,
me?
girl. She is like top Barbie version. Cause I'm like, girl, call me. She's like, oh, I don't have my makeup on. I'm like, bitch, just show me your damn face. And she's like, nope, nope.
40 years of hiding who I really was, and this being the expression of who I am. I don't take it lightly. Like, like I don't
Babe,
go a day without putting the makeup on because
Because it's an but it's
it's
because
an
it's empowering
empowering
babe,
to
thing.
you.
It's
It's
not a
it's
empowering to you.
it's a physical, tangible
right.
representation of your
Yeah.
inner self.
And
But
I did miss
that
my 20s and 30s too. So,
I do want to
Yeah.
say that you are beautiful all the time.
She
oh,
is beautiful
thank
all the
you.
And you
time.
don't need your makeup to tell anybody
No.
who you are. However, I
But
understand
she's
because like I
catching
said,
up.
it's a tangible like it's for others to understand. And I get
Right.
that. And I get
It
that.
is, and
But you're beautiful,
I
mama.
do
You're
get a lot
beautiful
less
inside and out, baby. So
I do get a lot less misgendered when I go out and fixed up. I don't get as much uh I don't get as much male objectification if I do this.
Yeah.
People look at me and they're like, yeah, that's a trans woman. Like I can't hide the fact that I'm 6'1",
Yeah, I
or
mean
I can hide,
that is
that's
tall for a woman, which so
yeah.
if you are a very tall woman, someone they're gonna look at you because like 6'1" is fucking tall. If a six
Hmm.
yeah.
foot one woman walks past me, I'm looking at a bitch being like, bitch, what did you eat as a baby?
Right.
Like, what the fuck did your parents put in your bottle? Girl. What's in the
But
where you
this
from, girl? What's in the water there? Like, what the fuck hormones are they putting in the chicken? Like, what's going on, girl? Because you just see a very tall woman is not.
right.
It's not. It's not.
No,
Yeah.
and I am, I
You're
don't
also very
really have to
alternative,
try.
ma'am.
I
You really
am.
are.
I'm
Yes.
And
very
she's alternative.
emo.
Yes.
She's always got her like fucking boots and her
Yeah.
Converse, and so she's like, you just stick the fuck. I need like pink hair. I mean, for God's sakes, you are like, girl. I
Yeah.
don't even know if people are staring at you, going like, "Ooh, that's a trans woman." They're just going like, "Hey, Jesus fuck, what did they put in her bottle?" And also like, Jesus fuck, because you've got like pink hair and fucking tiny shorts and Converse and like all your crazy t-shirts and stuff. Probably just looking at you being like, whoa, what the fuck? Whoa.
Yeah. No, and that's true. I am very, very alternative. I'm very goth girl, very emo, and I
Same.
love it. It's just all of the things, like even being goth and emo is not something I got to express as a child or as a young
Mm.
person. Like even though I wanted to, like
Yeah.
I couldn't do that because that was counterculture and it was
Yes.
against Jesus and
Yes.
God wouldn't love me if I did that and my mom would be sad. But when
God
I when
loves
I
me and I do all
That's
sorts of shit. It's okay,
when
don't
I
worry
that's
about it.
finally decided that when I finally decided that I'm going to stop trying to please my parents because it was a fool's errand. It was a fool's game. I was never
yeah.
going to please them. I never even got it as an untransitioned person. So if
Mm.
I couldn't get it then, why should I worry about it now? And also, when I take this attitude out in the world because like, people think that they can say things to hurt me. Like when I'm on live,
Mm.
they'll come in there and they're like, hey, you're a dude. Hey, sir, you're a man. Like you'll never be a woman. And I'm like, I just need y'all to understand this, that if you can say something that'll hurt me worse than my own goddamn mother ever did, then fucking
That part,
Fucking try it. Like,
congratulations. Yes.
baby.
Yes. Good job. Bravo. And
yeah,
like,
this is my thing
It's
as well. This is why I also know that, like, because of how I speak and because of the stories I tell, and because I like just saying shit because it's funny. I don't give a fuck. But you do get people that will say to me like, "Oh, that's a slut and a this and a that and whatever," and especially men will be like, "Well, you're not even that fucking pretty, so how can you be a slut, bitch?
you
I don't
fine
give a
as
fuck
fuck.
what you
Fuck
like."
them.
can I
Fine
can
Oh
I
as
be
hell,
no,
real?
bitch.
I have been ready to jump your bones for all the 4 years that I've known you. You're gorgeous, for fuck's sake. I'm
Listen,
pansexual as shit.
listen. Some of those pics you be sent
I'm just
in that
saying.
group chat, bitch.
I know, right? Right. I
wait, has,
could
has she seen
fucking
my?
never. No, I don't think she's seen the ass pic yet, but listen, I'll have to share it with you after hours
Baby.
here.
The after hours, the after hours.
So
Let's
I
see
I
No,
don't know. I
you
kind of
Barbie's
know,
got the feeling
booty.
that Evie
you know,
butters different sides of the, or like Evie, sorry, that Evie butters different sides of the bread too. So I'm just saying,
Girl, God made me mentally unstable. He made my parents crap and all the shit, but he gave me a good booty.
it is
He
a good
gave
booty.
me he gave me nice ass. And you know what? Is it's not the same as having good mental health and loving parents, but I'll fucking take it. Like it's
But
who the fuck has good mental health? Because bitch, and I, not me.
I dare
Look,
anybody to
you
look
know,
into this podcast right here, into this YouTube
there's no,
broadcast, and see anything but three women who are fine as fuck. Listen, no. Y'all can't get this. Like, no, y'all are like, y'all want to hate. How can you hate from outside the club, bitch?
hey,
I mean,
hey,
I just
listen,
we
heard the
all
beat
fam in
drop
the
in my head when
club.
you said that.
right?
I heard bump bump, but the musician in me was like Chris Brown.
Mhm. Yep.
We
But
all
yeah, no,
fam in the
look,
club. We
yo,
fam in the club.
dead
Well,
ass.
only we in the
You know,
club.
what's actually funny is like you what you said, Sheila, like it's so real. So I grew up in a hyper religious, I actually, you were talking about Christian college.
Hmm.
I was telling my friend who's like my producer the other day. I was like, I had a Christian recording contract with. He was like, wait, what? I was like, I had a Christian like music recording contract, and I was accepted to a Bible college. But then, but then
Then,
I got pregnant.
up,
Oops.
unforgivable sin.
And I had been accepted to a all Christian, like the biggest all Christian chorus that there is, that records like professional music for like,
Hmm.
different. I'm not gonna say what, I'll text y'all later, but I'm not gonna say what church, but it's a
Oh.
very well-known church that has a lot of problems. But back in the day, everybody thought they were like the pinnacle of Christian music. And I know, Sheila, you know who I'm talking about.
I
The pinnacle
already know. Yeah.
overseas is all I'm gonna say, baby. You
Yeah,
know.
I know.
Okay. So I had a contract with them. That's who I was gonna sing for. And
Okay.
that's who I was gonna write music for. And so I was telling my friend who's a producer this the other day, and I was like, yeah, I was supposed to go into, and he was like, Christian, you, Jesus? And I was like, yeah, bitch, me. But
Yep.
yeah, so I feel you. Like I wasn't like the way that I edge up my like feminine, because I was not feminine my whole life. I was very mask presenting. I wore like baggy jeans and Timbs in high school. I've always been very mask presenting in the way that I dress and the way that I behave. I'm an athlete. I boxed competitively from age 16 to fucking 25. I played soccer and basketball. Like I was always kind of very mask presenting. It wasn't until my daughter that I kind of started embracing my femininity. But the way that I kind of like add an edge to my femininity is because I do love a little bit of alt. Like I have a mushroom in my hair right now, right?
Mm.
Yay.
I wear,
Mushroom
yes,
on my shirt.
baby, yes, I love the Smurf. Also super gay, the Smurfs.
Smells like gay as
Oh,
fuck.
I remember being a kid and I was like, oh, I like this show so much. Um, but definitely, I wear combat boots with dresses. I wear,
Oh hell
I wear
yes.
Jordans with dress. Like
Yes.
that's how I like kind of like grunge it up a little bit. So I it's funny because I love skulls. Skulls is actually like my favorite thing in the whole wide world. Like I love skulls, I love dragons, as you can see behind my very nerdy fantasy fiction collection that I have here. And this is probably only a not even a quarter of my book collection, but they're all like out there. And I started recently like acknowledge like allowing myself to just live in that space because when I was in high school, my mother would say things to me like your grandmother would have hated your outfits, and I'd be like, okay. She didn't care. Thankfully, my mother was like, okay, do you like whatever. Now, I'm not gonna get into like all of everything because the reality is I'm still in a place where I can't always be honest with my family because of the way that they look at life. However, that's kind of something that I've chosen to do regardless is wear like a lot of school t-shirts because school t-shirts are my favorite. So if you ever want to get me a birthday gift or a Christmas gift, just get me a school t-shirt. Like
Just a
Skull
anything
skull
with
t-shirts it
t-shirt.
is.
some vile skull shit on it. That's what like I love.
I am
Um
gonna
like I'm
I'm
looking
gonna
at my
say
bed right now and there's like a skull sweater on my
I'm
bed.
gonna say that this is probably the most important show that we've done on this.
Oh my God, I love that.
I think
But
that
yeah, that's
this
how I
is
rebel.
literally the most important thing. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to land this plane here because we are running out of time. But we talked the things we talked about here. I feel like this is probably the most important
Mm.
conversations that we've had. We've had
Yeah,
some
yeah.
important conversations, but this is literally dug deep into the heart of who each one of us is. And
Mm.
I hope that you who are listening also are digging a little bit into your heart and maybe you're thinking about your story that you want to tell someday that you might tell like this, or
Mm.
maybe our stories have touched you in some sort of way. And this would be where I'd give the altar call if I was still a pastor, but it's
Wait, are you an
you
ordained
know,
minister too?
I am, yes.
So am I.
So yeah, I'm a former
No.
pastor, but yeah, I will say this here. Um, as women here, we owe it to ourselves to reclaim ourselves, to examine ourselves, to get our power back. However that looks to you, fucking go for it. And don't
Mm.
let anybody tell you otherwise because we are powerful. You have talked tonight, you've listened to three powerful women talk and tell their stories. We've told it through tears,
Mm.
told it through emotion, heartbreak, and just even through humor and laughter. And
Giggles.
yeah, and ultimately we are who we are because of our struggle and because of everything that we've done. And I usually wrap up a show by saying, by getting everybody's final thoughts, but I believe that we've all left it all on the stage tonight. We've all poured our hearts into this and given more than we'd ever be required to give. And I hope
Mm.
it's helped all of us in here. It's definitely helped me, and I hope it will help those of you who are out there listening. But for those of you who are out there listening, we have been the Hurricane Girls. We are here on YouTube at Hurricane Girls, Twitch at Hurricane Girls, Facebook at Ms. Sheila Chappelle. We will be posting this podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Please share it.
Mm.
Please give it to other women who are struggling, who need to hear women's voices. Please link it on your Facebook, on your Instagram, on your Blue Sky. If you're not on Blue Sky, I'm on Blue Sky now.
Me
Yeah,
too.
I think
Mm.
Evie is as well. It's SheilaChappelle.bsky.social, and feel free to follow me there. I follow back right now. But just yeah, and if you are our GCPR family, I'll get this over there, be there at 9 o'clock. And Villains Guild family, love y'all. Stay
Mm.
strong out there. Um, this is Sheila Chappelle for the Hurricane Girls,
Mm.
and I will say, as Leslie has often said, chin up, tits out. Have
Yep.
a good night.
Yes.
Have a good night.
Yes. Good night.